Hey, what's going on everybody? It's Justin Gazaba, and this is Living and Moving to Seattle, Washington. This is the channel where we give you all the nitty-gritty details and information about what it looks like to relocate, come out here and move to the beautiful Pacific Northwest, the Emerald City, Seattle, Washington. What's going on everybody? I'm a local real estate agent here in Seattle, Washington that helps people relocate, move around town. And if you reach out to us, give us a call, shoot us a text, we'll set up a time where we can brainstorm exactly what your unique situation looks like and how we can help you the most. So feel free anytime, I promise you, just shoot us a text, give us a call, and we'll make it happen for you. Even if you just want to talk shop about the market, maybe you're considering Seattle versus Austin versus New York because of a job change, or if you're living here locally and you're thinking about making a move in town, reach out. So in this video, I want to give you 3 tips, really easy, 3 tips to think about when choosing your ideal Seattle neighborhood. And I think it's super critical to have this conversation, especially with folks that are relocating to the area that may not be super familiar with the way that Seattle's set up. Seattle is on an isthmus, which means we have water on both sides of us and there's 2 peninsulas and there's a cut between us. So we are surrounded by water. We have Seattle, which is the city of Seattle, and then the metro area also includes Bellevue and Redmond and even Bothell and down south in Tacoma. Now, these aren't different neighborhoods, these are different cities. And what happens is a lot of folks come out here and they wonder where they should live, and they treat these cities like neighborhoods, right? Redmond has its own neighborhoods. Bellevue has its own neighborhoods. Tacoma is a massive area of land. It is bigger than Seattle land-wise and has a ton of neighborhoods, right? And then you have Fife and Kent and Renton and all different cities, not just neighborhoods. So when you're thinking about making a move out to this area, we work with people that are moving to all of those places. Everybody thinks about their commute and where they're gonna work and what that looks like and how that fits in. And sometimes, hey, we're helping somebody down in Tacoma, sometimes we're helping somebody in Kent, sometimes we're helping somebody in SeaTac, right? But more often than not, we're working in Ballard and Fremont, in Redmond and Bellevue, right? These are areas, in and around Seattle. So what I want to do is I just want to give you a couple of good ideas. Some folks, maybe you visited the area and you had a nice night out on the town in Capitol Hill, or maybe you went to downtown Seattle, went to one of the museums and hit up the Met for dinner, something fun like that. Or maybe you've just come in and visited friends in Fremont and Ballard and did the Brewery District tour and checked all that. I really focus on, when we work with folks, what their lifestyle looks like, where they expect to spend their time, and I think these 3 tips are really gonna help. So let's get right into it. Always, we are thinking about commute here in Seattle. There's a running joke that says, in Seattle, you're an hour away from anywhere in Seattle. It's because traffic is such that the way that the roads are, we can go north to south pretty easy. Light rail goes north to south pretty easy, but we've got the Puget Sound, right? Elliott Bay, then we've got Seattle, then we've got Lake Union, and then we've got some more of Seattle, and then we've got Lake Washington, right? So there is water everywhere. And because of that, we've got a couple of bridges, floating bridges, the I-90 bridge to take you to the east side, to take you out to Issaquah and Snoqualmie and North Bend. And then we've got the floating toll bridge, 520, that takes you out towards Bellevue and gets you quick access to Redmond and that area. And then there's a long highway that goes way up over the lake, I think it's 522, that takes you towards Bothell and Kent and out to Redmond. So east to west can be difficult, right? So the traffic, your commute, something to think about. We have a lot of folks that work in hybrid models because Seattle has Boeing, and we have Amazon, we have Microsoft, and we've got Meta, Facebook, Instagram, Disney. A lot of these firms and businesses, Tableau, Salesforce, that are, the list goes on, Expedia, they allow for a hybrid work model where maybe you're only commuting to work 2 or 3 days a week. right? Whereas a lot of folks a few years ago, they were going to the office every single day and they really only wanted to be 15 to 20 minutes from work, which if you work in South Lake Union, downtown Seattle, 15 minutes puts you in Fremont and Ballard and not much further north than that, right? So, and then it really doesn't give you too much opportunity to head south because South Seattle is full of warehouses and industry and the port, and there does get quite a bit of traffic. West Seattle, the West Seattle Bridge has been closed for a number of years. We do see that opening up again soon, but that's a solid half hour into South Lake Union, maybe even 45 minutes depending on traffic, right? So always, always, always check your commute. Be realistic with where you're going to work, what that commute looks like. If you're solidly working from home versus a hybrid model, it's really important to think about not only your company that you're with right now. Most people switch companies every 2 to 3 years. So I've had friends that thought we're only going to work in South Lake Union, but now they just took a job and the headquarters is in Bellevue. So very different way to think. Still pretty easy access to jump on I-5 from the west side, northwest side over here, Ballard, Fremont. Take your, get over to 520 and bounce into Bellevue. It's not terrible, right? So when you think about commute, just don't think about the commute to where you are right now, but think about your next couple of moves, what companies you may work for and where they're located. Can make a real impact on whether or not you're going to be comfortable in your home for the next 3, 5, 7 years. Okay, so that's tip number 1, consider the commute. It's kind of a no-brainer. Everybody kind of thinks of that, but I'm asking you to think just a couple layers deeper, right? Make sure that that area fits your lifestyle. Make sure that not only that commute works for you, but if you're going to be car dependent because you need to get out into the mountains and you want to be able to drive to trailheads, or you're going to go skiing in the wintertime, or you have a kayak and you're going to get to water access, that not only does that commute work for you, but the neighborhood that you're choosing has some sort of parking situation for you, right? Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, this advice I give to so many people when they come out here. They reach out to me, we set up a call and we talk about the neighborhood, where they're gonna head, what they're doing, and then we work to say, hey, well, gosh, it would be really advantageous if you came out here and visited again. I know a lot of people that have been here before, but if you haven't been here, come out. If you're coming back, come out again and just get a sandwich in the neighborhood that you think that you're gonna want to live in the most. And really try to distill down if you feel like, is that the neighborhood that you're gonna spend most of your time in, walking, commuting, going to those bars, restaurants, those shops? Are you gonna spend your time doing that? Or are you really gonna just do that maybe once or twice a month? Right? Do you actually go out, or do you just love, maybe you don't go out all the time, but you love having the access in case somebody comes to visit, right? That's a balance that you have to do, but I always encourage people, go get a sandwich, go grab a beer, figure out what your perfect average day might look like in that neighborhood. And the reason I say your perfect average day, right, is because you might have friends coming to visit, family coming to visit, you might like to entertain. That might be what you do normally. So you want to be able to carry that lifestyle with you when you move out here, right? So think about what that looks like for you and then have an honest conversation with yourself. Is that a weekly thing, a monthly thing, every 6 months thing? How does that work with what type of home is available and your commute, right? And that kind of segues nicely into the last tip. I've always tried to explain to folks that Seattle has old houses, 1880s, 1910, 1920, 30, 40, 50, and really if you can find a 1950s home close in Seattle, that's a pretty new home for Seattle, right? Even as you get further, think of it as concentric rings on a tree. The further away you get from the core, actually the newer the homes get. So the further you are away from Seattle, like if you're Crown Hill, North Greenwood, heading your way into Shoreline, that's where you're going to start to see some of those houses built in the 50s, right? Every once in a while you'll come across some 70s, 80s, and 90s as derelict homes got torn down and other homes got put in its place. But primarily, you know, you're going to be looking at just past the turn of the century homes, the 20s, 30s, and 40s, as you look in Wallingford, Fremont, Ballard, in those areas, even down in Georgetown, in those areas, we start to see more homes in the 50s, right? So you've got to kind of come to terms with, are you okay being the steward? Because when you purchase a home, you're responsible for it, right? You're the steward of that home. So are you comfortable getting into an older home that might be built in the 1920s or 30s or 40s that may have little quirks that old homes have, right? Or do you want a new home? When Seattle does new construction homes, now we see some big new construction homes that sell for $2 to $3 million in these core neighborhoods in Seattle, in your Sunset Hill, your Queen Anne, and those homes are beautifully done. But if you're looking to be around $1 million or so, or you know, between I don't know, 750, maybe 800 and $1 million, $1.2 million, for your new construction homes, you're really going to be looking at townhouses, right? So you're going to be looking at homes that have, now this is I got to make a caveat, right? There are, in between, we'll find some pockets where there'll be some other homes, but generally we have old homes, 30s, 40s, and we have townhomes, right, in Seattle. Now, I'm talking about Seattle proper, not Bellevue. Bellevue is largely 1950s and newer, not Redmond. I'm talking about Seattle, right? So that isthmus right here in Seattle, up into Ballard and Fremont, down to Georgetown. In those areas, Judkins Park, right, 1920s and 30s. That's when those neighborhoods were established. So if you're looking for something that's close to South Lake Union, close to downtown, close to Capitol Hill, and you want new construction, you're going to be primarily looking at townhomes. So you've got to kind of figure out what you're looking for versus, you know, what's available, so that you can make a conscious decision on that. Otherwise, there are beautiful homes that have been renovated and remodeled and really, really well taken care of, that were built in the 30s and 40s, that you can come across that have been just nicely done. And you know, every home that I always tell folks, every home has something that's going to be needed to be repaired along the way somewhere, right? It's just a normal course that you take when you own your own home, right? You don't have an apartment daddy, a landlord to call and say, hey, come fix this. It's on you. So just some things to think about. I've never come across a home that didn't need some kind of upkeep, maintenance, or repair work done throughout the years, right? Whether it's brand new construction or an older home. So those are really my three biggest tips when thinking about relocating to an area that you're not super familiar with. Figure out what your commute's going to look like. Figure out, you know, where you're going to hang out and spend your time. Do you need to live in the neighborhood that you're going to go out and spend all your time in? Grab a sandwich. Don't get low blood sugar. Imagine your perfect average day and what that's going to look like to bring friends and family in from out of town, where you're going to take them, what you're going to do. And then think about, you know, yoga, Pilates, the gym. What does it look like for your commute, juxtaposed to you know, what neighborhood you're going to spend most of your time in. Are you like I don't live in Ballard anymore, but I'm Ballard adjacent. So I go down there every once in a while. It's super easy for me, and that convenience really works for me, but I don't need to be in the core of it all the time, right? And then think about, you know, what kind of home you're comfortable buying. You know, do you want that design and appeal and charm of an older home? Or are you looking for low maintenance, easy living, move in, live your life, and you want to find a townhome that's maybe a little bit more suited to your needs and lifestyle, right? So, and obviously there's a ton of nuance that goes into that when you're thinking about your lifestyle and your perfect average day, but when I talk to folks, those are some of the things I talk about when we think about weighing those pros and cons, those requirements versus nice to haves, so that we can help you find a place that you truly love. So hope you found that super helpful. Reach out to us, shoot us a text, give us a call. We're helping people make this move all the time. We want to do a great job for you too, and we'll look forward to connecting soon. All right, talk to you in the next video. See ya.